Can GDP become higher than GNP? Yes, it certainly can. As others have already stated, a country's gross domestic product measures the value of final goods and services produced within a country's borders, while gross national product measures the value of final goods and services produced by a country's residents, regardless of where in the world that production takes place. As a result, a country's gross national product differs from its gross domestic product by the net balance on factor incomes, adding the income received by domestic residents for their contribution to production that takes place in other countries, while subtracting the income paid to foreign residents for their contribution to production that takes place within home country. The factor incomes included in this calculation comprise compensation of employees, sometimes estimated from worker remittances sent back to the home country, corporate profits, dividends, earnings of unincorporated affiliates, and reinvested earnings of incorporated affiliates, and net interest. Consequently, any country whose residents pay more factor income to foreigners than they receive from foreigners will have a gross domestic product that exceeds its gross national product. This might be the case for a country that has borrowed a lot of money from the rest of the world, or has absorbed a lot of direct foreign investment, or has large numbers of foreign workers, or a combination of all three. Possible. It happens when government focuses on domestic market rather than international market. Therefore, investors' attention would be more on developing local economy than investing in another economy, which will lead to higher GDP than GNP. For instance, the successful entrepreneurs in domestic market would prefer to move to global market, which will allow most financial capital move outward of home country. Starting from buying properties to launching new businesses in foreign nation would disturb GDP grow and assist GNP incline. In this case, GDP will surge once most investors and entrepreneurs would prioritize domestic market than foreign market. In fact, when GNP is higher than GDP, it does not mean the economy of domestic country sluggish. It means people in home country accumulating more financial capital no matter in foreign or domestic market. Yes, GDP can be higher than GNP in developing countries, due to lot of MNC presence within their geographical boundaries. The value of goods and services produced by them adds up to GDP, but while calculating GNP, those foreigner incomes are subtracted from GDP. Also, domestic companies of developing countries have very little international presence, so net income from abroad is less than what foreigner earns within the geographical boundaries. But for developed countries, due to lot of their companies has international presence, their GNP is higher. For example, in India GDP greater than GNP, $8,606 per capita in PPP greater than $6,353 per capita in PPP, and in case of USA GNP greater than GDP. Yes, it is possible for GDP to be higher than GNP, and it is also possible for GNP to be higher than GDP. GNP refers to the total income of all the population of the country, including any income that they have earned from abroad, e.g. profits, dividends, rents, inward remittances from relatives who have emigrated, etc. GDP refers to the total income, i.e. total output that has been created within the country, including any income that is attributable to foreigners, e.g. profits, dividends, rents, outward remittances from immigrants, etc. GNP greater than GDP is best for a country because it means that the population of that country will have a greater total income, i.e. total output, than if GDP was greater than GNP.